It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is L.A. Guns with Long Time Dead. And just before that, we heard Rat with Tell the World. Going out by, as a tribute to Jason for calling in and being such a sport. That guy talked for an hour straight.
And we didn't ask one question.
We didn't ask him one question. He just out the gate and ready to talk.
So I've got my question for you.
Okay.
Okay, that's going to go up Tuesday, I'm assuming?
No, actually, it'll probably go up on Monday.
Are you going to wing that into Monday?
Well, if you figure the first half hour of the show is intro and music and this and that, so...
I'm fine with it because whenever it goes up, it's going to be... We're going to definitely let Blabbermouth and Brave Words and Metal Sludge and everybody know about this one. So let's say it goes up Monday.
Yeah.
What day do we get the cease and desist?
The following day.
You think Tuesday?
Tuesday. Really that late?
Yeah, I think he'll send a C&D to Metal Sludge first, then us. Then he'll figure out it wasn't Metal Sludge, it's us.
Okay. So
that'll take the extra day or so.
All right.
Do you see that coming?
It's hard to say.
Well, the one good thing about us not being too involved in that, other than saying, "Hey, Jason, how you doing?" We're not liable for anything.
No, not at all.
We just open the phone and let him go.
Yeah.
And I believe him. That's my personal take, but I didn't hear anything that I thought was crazy. Did you?
Not at all.
It kind of justified a lot of the shit we've been thinking. As far as the delusions of Robert John Blotzer.
Mm-hmm.
That was cracking me up how he kept calling him Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Well, even Steven calls him Bob.
Yeah. I don't get this from Jason, but I've gotten this from somebody that's been around the camp for a lot of years. That is like the insult. He does not like to be called Bob, is what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to be called Bobby. And so Bob is what people that don't like him call him. So it's not surprising at all that Jason's calling him that and Steven's calling him that.
Sure.
Dude, what do you think? Do you think Warren is getting something ready?
I think so. I think that, I think that's one of the reasons why Jason found our insight maybe interesting is because at some point we said, why don't Steven, Warren, and Juan just go out and grab a new drummer and go out as Rat?
Yeah. So let's play that out. Let's say that happens for the sake of argument. Now, we've seen this happen, several times.
Yeah, well, you got the L.A. Guns situation where Tracy put together his own lineup.
Yeah, and Queensryche.
Rat
once before.
Yep.
Do you think that anybody wins, or do you think it all just fucking goes to shit?
Well, the thing is I think that there's a stronger case with this one only because it's not a fight over who has the right, because at least, again, I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm just going by what seems to be common knowledge.
Yeah.
Warren has as much right to use that name as Blotzer does.
Right, sure.
It's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah, so he can do it with whoever he wants.
Correct.
Because obviously Bobby's proving that.
And
Bobby's proven that he can do it with whoever the fuck he wants.
And for them to go out as 3/5 of Rat makes it more legitimate. And of course, we've had this discussion a million times on the show. What makes a band a band?
Right.
And more often than not, it's the singer.
Singer and the guitar player.
That's it.
A, B, or both.
So you got Warren and Steven in one camp along with Juan.
Right.
And then you got Bobby, the drummer, in the other one.
Right.
I mean, look at the fallout from Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Roger Waters took off. You know, he's a guitarist and vocalist.
Right.
But the other three guys remained in Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And they won the Pink Floyd.
Right.
You know, and then Waters had to go out as Roger Waters.
Yep.
So, you know, there's been precedent already.
Sure. Just, the whole thing's just nuts. It's nuts, but wow, what an interview.
If you can call it that.
Well, what a phone call.
What a phone call.
What a phone call.
It wasn't a lot of an interview, really. It was just, okay, here's the air. Go ahead and launch.
And he did. We literally didn't ask one question.
Right out the gate.
I think you said, how you doing? And and that was the end of the questions.
More or less.
Because, and here, we'll pull the curtain back a little bit. I had actually texted you or messaged you or whatever right before we went on. And I said, try to lead in with some Sin City Sinners stuff.
And I introduced him as the manager of the Sin City Sinners and former co-manager of Rat.
Right. Well, my thought, and you probably thought the same thing, I'm thinking, is you lead in with one or two things to promote what he's doing before we get into this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fair. You know, he does have a product to promote. So we, you know, obviously he's doing us a solid coming on. So we would open the door for him to promote his thing.
Sure. Absolutely.
And that was, and I just wanted to make sure that you did, you know, and then we would dig in. There's no need. He was just like, blah, blah. He went full fucking blast.
Sure.
Love it. Too good.
Well, aside from Metal Sludge, you know, the exposure he received over there, and the fact that he became a fan of the CMS through listening to our podcast.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
It was almost like, here's my opportunity. I'm not going to squander it.
Right.
So I'm just going to unburden myself and get it all out there.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. I absolutely revel in the fact that some of these guys are listening to our shit.
Yeah, I know.
I'm cracking up thinking about he's riding down the road with Bobby Blotzer, listening to us torch Bobby Blotzer.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I met Josh a few weeks ago and I told him who I was, he didn't bat an eye. He just like, yeah, I know who you are.
And fuck you. No, he was nice to you, wasn't he?
He was very nice. He goes, yeah, I heard what you said.
You know, and you know what's funny? I think there's a misconception that we have a dog in the fight.
We don't.
We don't even care, you know, with the Bobby thing. We just find it insulting. I'll speak for me, not you. You can speak for you. I find it insulting.
I do too. Well, I find it deceptive.
Yeah. I find it personally, as a Rat fan, which I am, you know, I'll come up front and say point blank, I loved Rat.
I love Rat too.
I find what he's doing insulting to me as a fan of the band, to try and say, well, we'll just get rid of everybody and we'll still call it Rat and we'll still charge $40 a ticket or whatever. You know, I find that monumentally insulting to me as a fan. And I would be the same way. You know, my favorite band is Metallica. No secret there, right? If Hetfield left the band and Lars left the band and Kirk decided it was going to be Robert Trujillo and two other guys from whatever band, from Battery, you know, and called it Metallica, I would be fucking pissed.
Of course.
You know, I would be like, fuck you. And I find what he's doing. And then him talking his mad smack makes it even worse. If he would have just shut up, tell me if you think this. If Bobby hadn't run his fucking mouth, if Bobby would have just been like, okay, I want to continue on, so I'm calling it Rat, and we're going to continue on. And that was the end of it. None of the bullshit with Jason, none of the bullshit about Steven, no talking smack about anybody. Just, we're going to go out and we're going to play some shows. Would you have as much of a problem?
Probably not. Maybe not, but the thing is where I lost total respect was before Steven, quote unquote, called it quits for good.
Yeah. When
Bobby was on his Facebook airing out all that all that band business.
Yeah.
For that week or two he was doing that, and basically, at this point, as far as I know, Steven was still on the fence.
Right.
And we had just seen them.
Right.
It wasn't long that we had just seen them as the entity.
Right.
But when I was told what a monumental douche he was being,
right,
especially when it came to Juan, who was very friendly, and the fact that he was just calling lawyers prior to a show to try to bar him from being in the band.
Yeah, stupid.
That's just dumb. Because this guy is just as important as you, if not more, because at least he contributes some vocals and some signature sound.
Yeah. Well, here is my, you have met these guys a lot more times than I have.
Sure.
Rad is one of those bands that I really don't know very well. I know Steven. We've obviously built a friendship with Steven.
Sure.
But I've only met Steven twice, I think. I think only twice. The only time I ever met Warren was in Rock USA. The only time I've ever met Juan was at Rock USA. And so, I don't have a whole lot of experience with them, so to speak. But I know this from the experience that I had. I sat at a table with the Dokken crew and with Warren and Carlos Cavazzo and ate dinner with those guys, and they treated me like I belonged there.
Sure they did.
And they didn't know me from anybody. They didn't know me at all. But they were nice, and not just sitting there quietly. I mean, they were talking to me, I was talking to them. We were having a conversation. 10 minutes later, we walk out the tent, and I run into Steven. And Steven is like, "Hey, man, how you been?" How Steven always is. "Yeah, I'm digging the show, man. I'm going to come on again."
Yeah.
Shit Steven always says.
And then he came to me and said,
"Who is that guy?"
No, he came to me and said, "Hey, you think you could find me some ice?"
Yeah, I know, that's right. Because he wanted a drink. But my point is that he didn't know me from anybody.
Sure.
And he was very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren was very friendly. And Carlos is very friendly. And when we ran into Juan, out back there, I think you took a picture with Juan at that point. But I was standing right there, and we all were talking for a while. And Don came over, too, if I remember right.
You took a picture of with Don and Juan.
Yeah. And Juan was extremely friendly as well. And my point is those guys were welcoming. Bobby Blotzer, who was also there, didn't say a word to anybody.
Mm-mm.
Not me, not you, not anybody. Hid in the fucking trailer, didn't come out until he had to run up to the stage.
Right.
I don't think I saw him one time, did you?
No.
And we were backstage, 12 hours? Weren't we?
Yeah, we were back there a long time.
We got there like noon or something.
Yeah, it was noon.
And we were backstage the entire day, and Rat was there the entire day, and I did not see Bobby until he hit the stage.
Right.
And the other guys were just friendly, and, remember we went over to that signing booth?
Yeah.
And I think Warren was over there at the signing booth, and he they weren't supposed to, these are stories I guess we're not supposed to tell, but I'll tell them anyway. Remember, people had to pay X amount of dollars and
to do the meet and greet.
Yeah, but specifically to sign the guitar or to see those guitars or whatever.
Yeah, it was a VIP experience.
Yeah, it was some kind of thing, and the band guys were supposed to stand behind it and sign a picture or something and hand it back to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was back there, I don't think I was with you when I was back there, but it was John Levin and Warren DeMartini were both over there, and I was over there.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren and John were both like, everybody that kept coming up and saying, "Hey, can I take a picture?" They were bringing them, back. And the security guy was losing his fucking mind.
Right.
He didn't want him back there with the, the musicians, but the guys didn't give a shit. So, my point is those guys are at least cordial. Now, I can't say anything about their business practices or whatever. I don't know. But I have to think that if they're cordial as human beings, that they're probably at least on some level cordial in their dealings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I think what you see as personalities probably plays a lot into what you see in a business environment.
Sure.
And boy, it sure sounded like it from Jason's description.
They remember that time when remember the airplane scare?
Yeah, sure.
They were on a 3-day run, and the promoter provided them that private jet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they played in Moline, Illinois. Then they were flying up to the Chicago area, which is when that jet had that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went over to Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Right.
And I was waiting for them at the hotel when the jet had the problem.
Right.
I was on the phone with you, and we were watching CNN and stuff, and it was on the news.
Right. Yeah.
And they got to the hotel. They ditched the jet, and they basically rented SUVs and drove up.
Right.
So they got there a couple hours later than they were supposed to, but they made it to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steven was promoting his book, his Sex, Drugs, and Rat and Roll, or whatever the name of that book is.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy there who he was doing a cable access thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And he kept coming over and, hanging out with me and asking me questions about, what do you think's going on and what's happening and whatnot. And he was just like, Steven's going to do this interview with us. If you want to come up to the room and hang out with us when he's doing the interview, that's cool.
Right.
And they had a professional camera crew there and everything, and Steven got in late.
Right.
And everybody was checking in at the hotel, and that's when Eddie Trunk was hanging out in the lobby.
Right, and throwing away your shirt.
Yeah, that's exactly the same time this all happened.
Right.
And then the next day there was that picture that was published of Bobby and Steven wearing the CMS shirt in front of the plane with Dawkins and Eddie Trunk.
Right.
Yeah. That was the same time.
Right.
Well, then the next day I went to Kalamazoo, which is only an hour drive from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there, and I was hanging out in the lobby waiting for Don to come down from his room, and Warren and Carlos had walked out of the hotel. I guess they went to get something to eat or something.
Sure.
And they came back through the lobby, and I was just kind of hanging out there, and they both come over to me and, hey man, how's it going? Good to see you.
Right.
Just both of them, friendly as hell.
Yeah.
They didn't have to say hello to me.
Yeah, they don't know. They deal with 1,000 fans a day.
Yeah, so they both came over to say hello. I was just sitting there, just minding my own business, and hey man, how's it going? Good to see you.
That's cool.
Right. So those, just as you said, personality-wise,
mm-hmm.
they didn't have to say hello to me.
Yeah.
But they did.
Like regular guys.
They're just regular dudes.
Yeah. Songs we like, which is what I always say about any band. I've never understood total worship, because in the end, they're just guys that, did something that entertained us. It's the same way as, and you've heard me say this on the show before, it's the same way I feel about my own dumb books.
Sure.
I don't look at that as, well, look at me. I'm author Chris Aiken.
Right.
Stay away from me. Fuck. I wrote something. Some people like it. That's great. It doesn't make me fucking anything different.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Well, it just seems like when you achieve something in a public forum,
right,
you're doing something monumental.
I guess, but I don't know. In the end, it's just fucking life. Maybe it's just I don't appreciate celebrity or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I really don't. I think it's all kind of dumb. I mean, honestly, it is. No offense against Prince, because as you're probably well aware, I am a monumentally huge fan.
Sure.
But let's face it, he's just a dude. He's a dude that died. Okay? Made some cool songs. Made a lot of cool songs. But he's just a dude that died.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, that's it. You know, he's no more important than the mom from Everybody Loves Raymond that died.
Sure.
And he's even no more important than the guy in whatever town you live in that died on the same day.
Right.
No difference of importance. It's all the same.
Well, it's just that, you know, more people know you.
Yeah, that's it. But, you know, I love how they always go and they say, well, you know, this guy did. What did he do exactly? You know, what did he really do? What did fucking any musician really do? You know, what did Lemmy do? What did Dimebag do? They made shit that we enjoyed.
Yeah, they were entertainers.
Yeah, they were not like gods, you know. And if they were, then you better check yourself. Check yourself and figure out who the fuck you are that you need to worship some guy that fucking wrote songs that you like.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever. I mean,
well, for musicians, especially people who are fans of specific music or a song or whatever,
yeah,
I guess it touches them in more of a spiritual way, maybe. The word, because you do it yourself. I mean, every time you put one of your posts out there and you dedicated your whole book, your little victories, you started off each chapter with
songs,
lyrics that meant something to you or were relatable to the subject of that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So people look at musicians who write songs that are touching, I guess, as if you understand my soul, man. That raises you to a higher level as a person because you seem to have this deity-like wisdom about you.
Yeah, I guess. I guess I'm just not that guy.
Well, you're not that guy, but that's how the average person out there thinks.
No, because I know, and you know this, I reached out and made contact with the band that wrote Little Victories, the song. And, you know, it's Kenny Loggins and Gary Burr and Georgia Middleman. And me and George are now fairly good casual friends, I guess.
Sure.
You know, and believe me, I appreciate the song to no end. You know, I appreciate the song. And yeah, the lyrics meant something to me. And I used those lyrics to form, you know, something that I did. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden, if I see them, I'm going to be like, oh, the Messiahs have arrived. You know, that just seems so dumb to me. You know, of course, people have a different idea or ideas that you can use, but that's anything. That's in fucking business. You know, I don't want to say what you do for your job, but there was somebody that told you about that shit.
Right.
It wasn't like you stepped in and you were like, hey, this is how it's going to work.
Right.
You know, you came in and somebody shared those ideas with you, and that's how you got better than them because you grew upon that and, you know, and then decided to be you and overtake them.
Exactly.
You know, and that's how it generally, I think of music the same way. You know, yeah, you get certain ideas, but in the end, they're just ideas and you're still going to do whatever the fuck you want to do with them. You know, and you can use them as a valuable thing or you can use them as a not a valuable thing. And that's, you know, and that's it. And worshiping somebody because they wrote a song that moved you, that's a little silly.
Well, again, some people look at somebody with a talent for words and music as having a higher understanding or power, if you will.
Okay.
You know, and again, you may not be that guy, but a lot of people take that very seriously.
Sure, I guess. More power to them, I guess.
Sure. Well, speaking of the passing of Prince this week,
yeah,
Phil Lewis of L.A. Guns chose to mention this during a live performance this week.
Okay.
Paid a little tribute to Prince.
So did everybody, but okay.
Well, yeah, he stopped the show,
right,
and more or less threw out a little, acknowledgement to the passing of Prince.
Okay. He sing Erotic City or something?
Well, what happened was they were in Baltimore, Maryland, of course, the racial capital of the world next to Chicago.
Right.
As we know, there's been some real tensions in Baltimore for the last 2 years almost.
Right.
And they kicked off their 2016 world tour. Do they ever stop touring?
I don't know that they ever.
I mean, how do you separate a world tour from one tour to the next? Because as far as I know, they play perpetually.
They've been on tour since 1996.
Yeah, as far as I know.
I can't think of one time that they've ever been off the road.
Sure. Well, L.A. Guns kicked off their 2016 world tour with a bang last night at Fishhead Cantina.
Wow, they're playing all the big rooms.
Yeah, the Fishhead Cantina.
Oh, my goodness.
In Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
The band played a searing set of hits. Well, isn't that all they have is hits?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be digging too far back in the vaults.
Yeah, well, maybe they played a non-searing set of covers. Another gig.
But the intro to their biggest hit, Ballad of Jane, was preceded by what some might call racist comments by lead singer Phil Lewis.
My question is, who's writing this? Is this a Stevie thing?
This is on Metal Sludge. I don't know who wrote it, though.
Okay.
All right. So I guess anytime that you mention black people, it's automatically racist because you're a white person talking about black people.
Is that it?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
While the world mourns the loss of Prince, Lewis talked openly about the band's first Minnesota show at the famous club First Avenue.
Right.
The English-born singer went on to say, "I don't want to bum you out. You know who just died. And I don't want to bring it down or anything." The frontman then tells a story about being on tour and playing in Minnesota. Along with his appreciation for Prince after seeing the movie that cemented him as an 80s icon, Lewis adds,
Under the Cherry Moon?
I think that was the movie he's probably talking about.
Okay.
Lewis adds, "We were all into Prince, right? Purple Rain. I mean, it was so cool because, you know, we had all this heavy shit, and then we had all this pop shit, and then there was Prince doing his own fucking thing." Okay? The crowd seemed to eat it up as Lewis briefly talked about the untimely passing of a true music legend. Then came this. I think this deserves a drum roll. The problem is right now, and I'm not going to be racist about it.
All right. Right before he opens his mouth, it becomes racist.
But black people are one-dimensional. That sound racist to you?
Prejudicial, maybe, but racist?
Is the term black people okay to use?
No, but categorizing into everybody that's black as one thing kind of is.
Okay, so it basically segregates a whole race or group.
Yeah. If you're going to say something negative and you castigate everybody that is of one color or one religion or whatever, then yeah, technically I guess yes.
Okay. So should he say that the current music scene?
That's what I would have.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he's trying to say.
Or pop music or R&B or rap or whatever. You know, you could specify that.
Sure.
You know, because I don't know, Eminem might still fit into this category. I don't know what he's going to say, but
okay. The problem is right now, and I'm not going to be racist about it, but black people are one-dimensional. We need more Princes, man.
Yeah, man.
We need less fucking rappers and more people like Prince. No, I guess what he's saying is that everything is too much the same.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Says a guy who comes from a genre that it became too much the same.
So from a from a band that the only time they tried to do something different, the fans universally revolted.
Right. There, I said it, added Lewis. The crowd seemed somewhat stunned. I don't think they seemed stunned.
Doubt it.
As a near
shocked.
As a near hush fell over the crowd immediately following the singer's bold comments.
Get the fuck out of here.
Is that bold?
I don't know if that was that bold.
What happened to the rebellion in rock and roll?
Bunch of pussies.
It's just, I don't get it. You know, when you and I were growing up and we were listening, we were like, yeah, man. Now everybody's just like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh. Dude, you know what I think it is? And tell me if I'm wrong. I think that this generation, our age, has done nothing but coddled our kids.
Yeah.
And now this fucking faggotry that you're talking about here of not shocking anybody.
Yes.
Comes from the kids' generation, the younger generation. And the parents are too afraid to say, hey, stop being such a fucking bitch. You know, they are. So they go with it.
Yeah.
And that's why the people that are our age are literally being like, oh, you can't say that. That's terrible. Shut up.
Let me use a politically correct term here. This must have been one of those teachable moments. Stupid.
Dumb.
Lewis let out a big, long sigh and adds, anyway, when we first played First Avenue, nobody knew who the fuck we were. Lewis continued with, it wasn't going very well, I'll be honest. You never know with these things. And then he played this song. Then we played the song and it changed everything. Yeah. And he broke into Ballad of Jane.
Okay, nice.
Would you like to hear the audio?
Oh, there's audio. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, here we go.
I don't want to bum you out. You know who just died, and I don't want to make a big, I don't want to bring it down or anything, but I remember when we were working on Cocked and Loaded, we were on tour, and they said that there's a venue that we could play in Minnesota. It was called First Avenue. And I didn't know too much about it at the time, but after I saw the movie and I got it, I was with the program, and we were all into that Prince, right? Purple Rain. I mean, it was so cool because, you know, you had all your heavy shit and then you had the pop shit, and there was Prince doing his own fucking thing. The problem is right now, and I'm not going to be racist about it, but black people are all one-dimensional. We need more Princes, man. We need less fucking rappers and more people.
All right, so people didn't seem to be all that upset. They were just, yeah, woo!
Where's that hush you're talking about?
Yeah.
All I hear is people cheering.
Yeah.
Like Prince. There, I said it. Anyway, when we first played First Avenue, nobody knew who the fuck we were. We were opening for someone or other, I don't know. And it wasn't going very well, I'll be honest. You never know with these things. I don't know, we played this song and it changed everything.
So I don't think he lost the audience.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I do love reading in this fucking... Our fans are fucking retarded sometimes. I'm okay. I'm pointing this directly at Jackal. It's one thing to say, I never dug Prince. It's another thing to try and say this guy was like a hack. He wasn't a legend. Yes, he was. He is probably the single most talented musician that's lived in your lifetime. Not saying you have to like his music, but my God.
Well, I'll be one to admit it.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
Okay.
But I respected what he did, and he was probably one of the greatest guitar players in that generation.
Dude, I was watching a video today, and I'll challenge anybody that wants to say Prince didn't have talent. It's some video look up Afro Funk Live from Prince. And it's about a 10-minute thing. And he's singing and he's doing all the fucking crazy dance bullshit that he's doing. And he's running around the stage like a fucking psycho. And then he just jumps up and he's playing guitar. And then he just walks up to the drums and starts playing the fucking drums. And he's playing drums for a while. Then he comes back down. And I was like, God damn, where do you get that kind of energy, let alone talent?
Mm-hmm.
The guy was an amazing talent. Now, he's not the kind of talent. He's definitely not the guy that would play shit that we, our fans would listen to. I personally, huge Prince fan, I have like 30 of the 35 albums that have been released. So I'm a big fan anyway, so maybe I'm a little biased about it, but come on, this guy was fucking amazing as a sheer talent. You can't say he wasn't legendary. Stop it. I'm fine with you saying he sucked, but he was legendary, especially in the R&B and soul world.
Sure.
Fucking redefined it. He redefined it. He had 2 albums that sold over 10 million copies. Fuck makes you a legend if that isn't it.
Yeah, I agree. Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
Hail and Kill. So, what do you think the odds of Prince getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame next year are?
Well, probably very nil since he made it in 2004.
Oh, really?
He's already in. And where you been, Moogle?
I had to go to a wedding.
For the last 2 months?
No, that was today. I was just, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go away. Then everyone would be like, I wonder whatever happened to that guy. So I'd be like the next evil Batman. And then pop up 2 years later or something.
Is that what you were hoping for, that people would miss you enough so when you did have a return, it would be a triumphant occasion?
Yeah, something like that.
Did
I didn't listen to really last week's show. What actually happened with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year?
And thanks for calling, Moogle.
How many kills? Al?
I'm going to start doing that from now on. I'm telling you that now, Neely, and I'm gonna trust you to honor my wishes. This is one time I'm making a call. Normally I don't try to dictate what happens on the show.
Sure.
This is one time I'm going to. If people call in and they're not on topic, out.
Yep.
Gone. I'm tired of fucking getting sidetracked all over the place. It's a real fucking pain in the dick to fucking do the podcast.
What's his chances of getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I would say 1,000%.
Yeah.
He's already there.
He's already there.
What happened this year?
Goodbye.
I don't know. What happened this year? You weren't paying attention?
You don't have YouTube?
So funny.
Stop it.
All right. Well, anyway, I didn't particularly find anything all that offensive.
Sure.
With Phil Lewis. I think he was just saying that the state of the music world has just become stagnant.
Right.
And that's all he was saying.
Yeah. And he's right.
So, big deal.
Yeah, I'm not worried very much about that one.
I think the biggest deal is that he said black people.
No. That's terrible.
I know. Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
Hey guys, Steve Wall here.
Hey Steve, do you have a point? Are you going to be on point?
Yeah, Prince sucks. No, I'm kidding. Don't hang up. Prince. Calling about Prince.
Mm-hmm.
He was a genius. He really was. What an amazing artist. He could play any instrument, multiple instruments. In Minnesota, we all miss him. I guess, really, I was not that big of a fan, but I appreciate what he did. Counterpoint, all those people who are saying he wasn't, he sucks or whatever. He was amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to like the music to appreciate the talent. Lord knows, and I'll use one that drives me crazy. James Brown. I can't stomach listening to James Brown. But I appreciate his talent. I know he was amazing at what he did. It just wasn't something I like.
I guess I feel the same way. I mean, Prince, I remember him from the early 80s when I was, a teen. Not the biggest fan, but I do appreciate what he did. There was a video on YouTube, I guess, My Guitar Gently Weeps. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, and he just destroys at the end of it.
He just, right, and like, is he really playing? That's insane. He's all over the place. Like, where did his guitar go in the end? That's amazing. If that's really him, I truly appreciate his guitar playing ability.
They say in the vault somewhere there's a bunch of rock albums that he did, and I hope that they do release them. I know he did one. Which one? Which one it was, but he did one that was kind of an electric guitar album that's pretty solid. But that just wasn't his deal.
No, he wasn't into the guitar thing. He could do it, he could play it, he could mimic it or whatever. He was into that funk thing. The outside Batman, Purple Rain, all that stuff. Let me show you my little red Corvette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was trying to be original instead of trying to be what everybody else was.
Yeah, it's hard to argue even something common like Let's Go Crazy. You listen to the guitar at the end of that, it's like, this guy can fucking play.
Yeah. Right, or the Doves Cry. The start of it. That was really cool. I don't know if that was him.
He could definitely play.
I appreciate him. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know if you guys seen the videos of his Chanhassen, Minnesota compound. Have you guys seen videos of that?
I have, yeah.
On TV? Yeah. The guy lived in a compound. Insane. It's like an industrial building. Would sometimes hold parties there or have a indoor concert or all-night party. I mean, the guy lived the life, huh?
Seemed to.
I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah. Well, hail and kill, guys.
All right, Steve, hail and kill.
All right, hand job.
Speaking of that, did you ever post that thing you were telling me about earlier this week about XM radio? That screenshot.
I'll look it up when we play music next.
All right.
That's freaking hysterical.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I'll put it up. It's freaking hysterical.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to play a song or two. Eric Braverman wanted to come on. I don't know if I'll get a hold of him or not. I'm going to try.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to give him a ring. I'll play a couple songs. I'll give him a ring, see if he's ready to come on with us. And then if not, we'll move on to some phone calls, some voicemails.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Got something you'd like to hear, sir?
How about Prince? No. How's about some, I don't know, Flotsam and Jetsam, swatting at flies from Quattro.
Okay. Flotsam and Jetsam.
Since we're doing Braverman.
Sure. From the Quattro release, and then swatting at flies. All right, got it.
All right, cool.
All right, we're going to play a couple of tunes. I'm going to try to get a hold of Braverman and bring him on and see what's up with him.
All right, sounds good.
All right, here's Flotsam and Jetsam exclusively here
on your classic metal show.